Hey guys, we're taking an updated look at Cake post meltdown and trying to figure out what to expect from here from Cake as we continue to watch Bitcoin struggle to get above 40,000 and trying to figure out what should we expect from Cake during this time. And I think there are a few things that we need to pay attention to and consider as we try to figure out whether or not where we should be taking profits and where we should be trying to buy and whether or not we should just be holding and hoping for the best. Obviously, the best would be coming back up here to test all-time highs up in the 40s again. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, with especially not without Bitcoin making a massive rally, which I also do not think is going to happen anytime soon. So, saying that, let me show you why I think that, and let's go over a little bit of what's been happening here. So, we saw Bitcoin reach a peak on April 29th around $44. We also noticed that the RSI was peaking at an 81 at that point, which should have been a sign that it was being overbought and should have been a good sign to exit. What I would have thought would have held would have been around here, and then we had this massive sell-off. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin started selling off, and then alts started selling off against Bitcoin, and then we had this massive dump. And then we sort of saw a little bit of a recovery. And this zone here, I think, is going to play a very important zone. As you can see, it matches up with the lows back from here in mid-April, and it also matches with the highs here from late March, early April. So I think in order for us to see a recovery of Cake and to be able to get back up here, we first have to flip this zone, which we have currently had a very tough time doing. Saying that, what we saw a few days ago when Cake had their flash loan exploited and then Bunny taken and sold off, we saw a massive dump of Cake, and it got all the way down to its all-time lows. Not all-time lows, but lows in recent history back in March in the $9 range, which was a fantastic price to try to get it at because this has played support in the past, major support in the past. And I do believe we might actually see us come back down and retest this again in the near future if certain things play out. So I would definitely have some buy orders ready for another $9 Cake if this happens. So looking at Cake versus Bitcoin, like I said, we saw it sell off against Bitcoin pretty dramatically here, and then sell off again against Bitcoin for 3 days straight. And now we've seen it kind of recover, but we're seeing it get stuck here, which I think is a little bit of concern considering this was support and resistance back here. So this is going to play a little bit of a hard line to get through. So I could see us pulling back to at least this point. And then if we also see Bitcoin pull back at that point, then we could see a very low teen, possibly even $9, $10 Cake again. Now, here's what I see playing out with Bitcoin, and we need to pay attention to this. We need to keep this in mind as we are looking at Cake. So there's a trend line here where, as you can see, it was support, then played resistance throughout here. We've yet to break this as resistance since the major dip down to 29 back on May 19th. 6 days later, it's still playing resistance, which gives me a little bit of concern here. And I believe we could see another pullback down to this trend line down here in the 34,000 range. Now, if what could be possibly happening here that I don't think a lot of people are taking into consideration is that this was a major sell-off here, huge sell-off here. And as you can see, we were down in the really low RSIs. Even on the daily, we reached all the way down to about 23, 24. I believe what we could be actually seeing here is just a consolidation while it builds up a little bit of power and gets its RSI back to be able to move down further. And if we moved down further, it is quite possible that we could see as low as $19,000 Bitcoin because there's not really much to stop it after 29,000. 29,000 is a pretty important number. If we get below that, there's no volume here. There's nothing here to stop it until we get down here. And so I really want to encourage you guys to pay attention to this, because if we retest 32, 31, especially if we get below this $31,000 low here, I get very concerned that 29,000 might not hold this next time around, because I don't know if there's enough buyers left to buy at 29,000 again. So that's something to please keep in mind as we go through these next few days. What I would preferably like to see, what I would really love to see, is I would love to see a break up and to break through 40,000. If we can get above 40,000, I feel a lot more comfortable making a play on Cake and starting to look for it to break through to that next tier and get above this area here. And then we can start playing in the 22 to 35 range, which is pretty wide open in my opinion. We have one little area of resistance here, but I don't think it's going to play too strong of resistance. So what I think could happen here, and the way I would play this, is if we can get above this and we can get up to 28, I would expect it to retrace and retest this and then buy on this retest for the run up. But obviously, like I said, this highly depends on Bitcoin's movement. I would keep a very close eye on it. I would really make sure you protect your capital. On these bounce days, don't just hold up here. Sell some, grab some profits, put some USDT back in your pocket so that if it does come back down here, you have some more dry powder to be able to use to be able to buy again on a lower level. What I'm seeing happen here is that people are getting the suggestion to buy the dip and then just hold and then wait for it to recover. And they're celebrating up here like this is the recovery. This is not a recovery. This is a bounce back. This is merely people who were shorted are buying back and taking their profits. People are buying here long and hoping to go up. If people are buying long here and leveraging, the following sell-off could be detrimental, and it could hurt a lot of people. So please make sure you're taking profits when we reach these resistance zones. Instead of buying at these resistance zones, make sure you're taking profit. Okay, so saying that, Cake's a good buy in this area, especially in the $9 area. I just don't know if I'm buying right now as it's hitting off and getting rejected by this resistance zone. I would much rather just let it run up to 28, come back and retest it, and then buy at 20, and then know that I'm not buying right before it takes a dive. So that's all the things I'm taking into consideration as I'm watching Cake. Please know that I may not be right here. There's a good chance that I'm not right here. I'm just sharing my opinion and how I'm going to look at it. Because as you can see here, like this is what I want to see happen, right? Is exactly what happened over here. I want to see this get mirrored here. So it broke through, hit 28, came back and retested, and then took off again. Came back, retested, and then took off. Like that's what this right here is exactly what I want to see play out over here. And until I see that play out, I don't want to be the one buying down here hoping that it happens. I want the confirmation, and that way I'm trading on something with a confirmation and more likelihood to actually happen compared to taking more risk hoping for something to happen, because this easily could get rejected here. And especially if Bitcoin does not make this $40,000 flip and instead it goes down, we could be looking at a $9 cake again. And then you're talking about a 40% loss. And I don't want you guys to take a 40% loss. I don't want to take a 40% loss. But if it does get back down to $9, I think it's a good buy at $9. And if it gets down below that, I just dollar cost average into it and hopefully end up with an $8 or $9 cake, because I don't think the bull run's over. I just think that things are bearish right now. Probably for good reason. We had a really massive run up. And so it's not a terrible thing that this thing could chop and go sideways, maybe down a little bit more. And that just gives us an opportunity to accumulate and then get ready for the next run, late summer, early fall, into the winter. And so that's my look at Cake. So this one ran a little bit long. I just wanted to kind of share all my ideas and thoughts here so that you guys had a full perspective of kind of what I'm thinking. I would love to hear your opinions in the comments. Please do not forget to subscribe and follow. Seriously, let me know what you think, because I need to hear as many ideas as possible so that I can try to take it all into consideration, because I especially like it whenever people have ideas that aren't like mine, because it really helps me think through what I'm thinking through. So let me know in the comments, and I look forward to making a new video for you soon. All right, take care, guys.